Waking up and getting ready for work, Dr. Eleanor never could have imagined the challenge she would face that day at work. When Dr. Eleanor arrived at work, she walked into the break room and set her stuff down, and then she walked into the ER to start her shift. When she got into the ER, she noticed the paramedics were rushing someone into the ER, and she rushed over to listen to the information that the paramedics were saying, but when she got next to them and looked down at the girl, she stopped in her tracks. At the haunting resemblance the little girl had to her late sister, and at that moment she knew she would do everything to the little girl. When she gathered her thoughts, she listened to the paramedic saying that the girl was 15 and her name was Ellie, and last month she was diagnosed with anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis, and the dad called 911, saying that his daughter has been sleeping a lot because she's so tired, but they said that was a normal symptom of what she's been diagnosed with. But he said when she woke up this morning and said she couldn't see, then that's when I immediately called 911-1. The dad looked at Dr. Eleanor and introduced himself as Hank, and Dr. Eleanor recognized that name, but she didn't know why that was. But then the dad went on to say he got really worried a couple of days ago because she started say stuff like, "I can't believe you can hear and see me since I'm dead." That prompted Dr. Eleanor to tell Hank that she was experiencing Cotard syndrome as a result of her anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis. Dr. Eleanor reassured Hank that they would do everything to save Ellie. Dr. Eleanor and her team researched tirelessly, discovering an experimental surgery that could save Ellie, but there were a lot of risks, and the surgery had only been done successfully 4 times, and she was hoping Ellie could be the 5th success. Dr. Eleanor sat down with Hank, explaining the experimental surgery and its risks, emphasizing that it was Ellie's best chance despite the limited successes so far. Dr. Eleanor took a deep breath before speaking. "Hank, the surgery involves using advanced techniques to essentially rewire Ellie's brain. We'll be resetting the immune system to stop it from attacking the NMDA receptors, which are crucial for brain function. The goal is to help her brain recognize its own cells again and restore normal function. It's experimental, and there are risks, but it's her best chance. We'll monitor her closely every step of the way." Hank's voice broke as he said, "Ellie's all I have left. Her mom died giving birth to her but held on just long enough to name her. I will do anything to save my baby girl." With tears in his eyes, he gave his consent, and Dr. Eleanor and her team began preparing for the life-saving procedure with unwavering determination. The medical team moved with precision and urgency. Their focus was unwavering as they prepared Ellie for surgery. Dr. Eleanor oversaw every detail, her mind sharp despite the weight of the task ahead. Anesthesia was administered, and the surgical monitors were connected to track Ellie's vital signs. The steady beep of the heart monitor mixed with the soft hum of equipment, filling the air as Dr. Eleanor double-checked the operating room. Her hands moved swiftly but methodically, ensuring everything was in place for the complex and delicate procedure. She scanned her team, their faces a blend of determination and quiet confidence. With a final nod, she signaled they were ready. The team carefully wheeled Ellie into the sterile, brightly lit operating room. Each step deliberates as the gravity of the situation settled in. Once Ellie was on the operating table, the team began the procedure. Dr. Eleanor focused intently, guiding the surgical tools with practiced hands. The plan was clear. They would use advanced techniques to rewire Ellie's brain, aiming to reset the immune system and halt its attack on the NMDA receptors. These receptors were essential for normal brain function, and by restoring them, they hoped to stabilize Ellie's cognitive processes and reverse the damage caused by her encephalitis. Their goal was to help Ellie's brain recognize its own cells again, teaching it to protect itself and restore balance. As they navigated this intricate surgery, the risks loomed heavily in Dr. Eleanor's mind, but they had no other choice. This was their best chance. However, midway through the procedure, Dr. Eleanor's focused gaze shifted to the screen displaying Ellie's brain scans. She froze for a split second, her brow furrowing. There, nestled deep within Ellie's brain, was an unexpected discovery, a cyst filled with spinal fluid. The cyst was pressing against critical structures, potentially exacerbating some of the symptoms Ellie had been experiencing. It wasn't something they had anticipated, and its presence could complicate the surgery and recovery even further. The medical team exchanged quick, concerned glances, and Dr. Eleanor's mind raced with possible next steps. She knew they couldn't ignore the cyst. If left untreated, it could interfere with Ellie's recovery, further complicating her condition. But they couldn't lose sight of the primary goal, stabilizing Ellie's brain and halting the autoimmune attack. After a moment of careful consideration, Dr. Eleanor decided. She motioned to her team to finish the first part of the surgery, stabilizing Ellie's brain and halting the immune response. Once they had completed that, Dr. Eleanor knew they would need to perform a second surgery to address the cyst. She stepped away from Ellie's side, her heart heavy with the additional challenge they now faced, and entered the hallway where Hank was anxiously waiting. Hank stood, pacing in a tight circle, his face pale, his hands clenched in fists. When he saw Dr. Eleanor approach, he rushed to meet her, his worry etched deep into his features. She took a steady breath before speaking, her voice calm but filled with concern. Hank, she said softly, we've stabilized Ellie's brain, but there's something else we found during surgery. There's a cyst filled with spinal fluid pressing on critical areas of her brain. We didn't see it in the scans before, and it could be contributing to some of her symptoms. It's serious, but it's something we can fix. She paused, watching Hank's expression change from concern to confusion, and then to alarm. The problem is, she continued, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation, we need to perform another surgery, a fenestration procedure. We'll have to remove the cyst to relieve the pressure on her brain. If we don't do this, her recovery will be at risk. But it's another surgery, and there are always risks. Hank's face drained of color as he processed the news. His mind raced with the possibility of losing his daughter again, but his love for Ellie and his trust in Dr. Eleanor gave him the strength to decide. Without hesitation, he nodded, his voice barely above a whisper. Just save my baby girl, whatever it takes. Dr. Eleanor placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, her expression softening with empathy. I'll do everything I can, Hank. We'll take care of her. With Hank's consent, Dr. Eleanor returned to the operating room. She addressed her team, informing them of the new development. They quickly adapted to the change in plans, preparing to move forward with the second surgery. The fenestration procedure would be delicate, but they were ready, as they worked with focused precision to remove the cyst. Ellie's life hung in the balance, but Dr. Eleanor was determined. She would not let the unexpected complications stop them. They had already come so far, and Ellie's future depended on the choices they made in these crucial times. Once the surgery was done, Ellie was wheeled to the ICU to begin waking up from anesthesia. When she opened her eyes, she smiled weakly and whispered, Dad, I'm no longer dead. I can see you. Hank, overcome with relief, thanked Dr. Eleanor, his gratitude clear. Then, with a heavy heart, he asked, Can I speak with you in the hallway? Hank's gaze softened as he looked at Dr. Eleanor, the weight of his words hanging in the air. We knew each other in the past, he said quietly. I was your late sister's boyfriend. Your parents passed before they could tell you the truth. But your sister did not die during surgery. She died during childbirth with Ellie. He took a deep breath, his voice cracking. I've been looking for you all over the state, and now, here you are. Dr. Eleanor felt as if the ground had shifted beneath her. Hank continued, his eyes full of sorrow and tenderness. Ellie is your niece. Your sister named her Ellie because it is close to your name, Eleanor. She passed right after naming her. It is like God knew she wanted to give her that one last gift before taking her home. Dr. Eleanor's mind raced, and a wave of guilt washed over her. She had not known her sister was pregnant, and the reason for that was because she had walked out on her family years ago. She had cut ties, leaving them behind. I did not know. I walked away from the family, Hank. I did not even know my sister was pregnant with Ellie. I feel so guilty. Hank looked at her with understanding, his voice gentle but firm. Then you can make it up now. You can be her aunt, Eleanor. You can help me raise her from now on. She needs you. Dr. Eleanor's heart ached as she nodded, the weight of the responsibility sinking in, but she knew this was her chance to make things right. She would be there for Ellie, no matter what. Hank and Dr. Eleanor walked quietly back into Ellie's room, the weight of what was about to unfold heavy in the air. Dr. Eleanor gave Hank a small, reassuring nod, silently letting him know that he was not alone in this moment. Ellie, still groggy from the anesthesia, looked up at her father with a mixture of curiosity and exhaustion. Hank sat down next to Ellie's bed, his voice unsteady but filled with resolve. Ellie, I know you have been asking me for years about your mom, about our family. I have always put it off, but it is time you knew the truth. Ellie's eyes narrowed in confusion, but Hank pressed on. Your mom, she was my girlfriend, and you are her daughter. She passed away when you were born, Ellie. He paused, his throat tightening. But there is more. Your mom named you Ellie because it is close to Dr. Eleanor's name. He turned to Dr. Eleanor, who stepped forward with a warm, gentle smile. Dr. Eleanor is your aunt, Ellie. She is your mom's sister, and she's been looking for you all these years. Ellie's eyes widened, the shock and disbelief written on her face as the truth began to settle in. Hank continued, his voice softening. We have been moving around, trying to find Dr. Eleanor so you could finally meet her. I wanted you to have one more family member, someone besides just me. Dr. Eleanor knelt beside Ellie, her voice filled with emotion. I am here now, Ellie. You are not alone anymore. You have family. Ellie stared up at her, her heart racing, before a tentative smile spread across her face. Slowly, she whispered, I have family. I have you. Ellie's recovery was truly remarkable. With the right care, her father's unwavering support, and the love of her newfound aunt, Ellie slowly regained her strength, her vision returned, and the confusion that had once clouded her mind began to fade. She thrived under the nurturing care of Hank and Dr. Eleanor, who dedicated themselves to helping her heal, both physically and emotionally. As the months went by, the bond between Hank and Eleanor deepened. The shared responsibility of caring for Ellie brought them closer, and they decided to start anew by buying a house, a place where they could build a future together. They found a charming home in a peaceful neighborhood, the perfect setting for Ellie to grow up surrounded by love and stability. In their new home, they created countless memories, family dinners, weekend trips, and quiet evenings filled with laughter and conversation. Ellie flourished in this loving environment, finding joy in life's simple pleasures, school dances, soccer games, and cozy evenings spent reading with her aunt. Hank and Eleanor found happiness in the life they had built, knowing they had something truly precious, each other and Ellie. Their family was united by love, resilience, and the second chance at life they had fought so hard for. Every day, they cherished their time together, grateful for the healing journey that had brought them here. Their love for Ellie, and for one another, grew stronger with each passing day, and they knew their family was complete. Waking up and getting ready.